Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to the Division 2, and today I'm coming back at you with another Resolve build. I'm very excited for this one. If you don't know what these are, super quick recap. With the latest update to the game, a variety of old weapons, brand bonuses, exotic talents, etc. received reworks and changes. And so, in this Resolve build series, I aim to showcase builds comprised of entirely old items that are now rejuvenated by the changes made to unlock some crazy new possibilities. And that's what we're doing today. As the title suggests, with the Lady Death, this exotic has been a player favorite for a long time, and with the buff made to its talent in TU20, we've gone ahead and combined that alongside some perfectly buffed brand bonuses to create a deadly combination. I've had even more fun with this setup than I anticipated, so I'm super happy to be delivering this video for hopefully you all to enjoy it as well. And let's not waste any more time. If you enjoy Resolve build breakdowns like these, then be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more that I do. Alright, build breakdown first, and then more gameplay at the end. Let's go. Alright, so here is the build. Now, upon first glance, some of you, not all of you, some of you might say, Umbra? Really? You're going to use Umbra with the Lady Death? And trust me, I was the exact same way. I have to give full credit, though, to the stream I did earlier this week. I got the inspiration and idea for it there, so shout out to Powerbomb who threw this out. It actually scales super well with the way that we're setting up this and combining the Lady Death with the new brand bonus buffs that the Brazos brands had got that we're also going to cover. So all in all, as you saw in the gameplay in the start and as you'll continue to see as we move towards the end, this just all works together super well, and we'll go over exactly how that works. So beginning with the star of the show itself, the Lady Death. This is obviously, like I said, a very popular exotic that's been around for a long time. I re-rolled mine with the changes this update to get damage to targets out of cover. And as mentioned, the talent has been changed and essentially buffed with this update. So it's breathe free, same as before, but the first paragraph there is what we care about. It says, when moving, gain 4 stacks per second or 8 stacks if sprinting. Max stack is equal to the weapon's magazine size. And that is the big change. Previously, up until this update, the Lady Death has only had its talent work with its static base magazine size of 32. So you would only get 32 stacks of the 75%, as you can see there, amplified damage. But now it stacks with your magazine size. So if you want to make a build that increases the mag size of the Lady Death, you now get that amount of amplified rounds for the total talent. And that is a pretty significant buff because it means, 75% amplified damage is not nothing. That's an insane damage boost. And as you can see with the changes made and what we have set up on this build, we have 48 in the mag, which is pretty significant when you take that into consideration. So all in all, the changes to the Lady Death this update just make it so much more universal to the types of builds that you can use with it. And that's exactly what we're taking advantage of in this setup. And also, if we go to the crit stats, you can see that we're getting pretty much maxed out crit chance and 143% crit damage when we get the full Umbra buff. As we'll go over, that goes up to 243% with well over 1,000 RPM. So all in all, the gun and this overall setup just make this type of playstyle about as potent as it can be, and it's a lot of fun. Moving back though, let's take a look at the rest of the pieces. Your secondary, completely up to you. I don't think I've pulled this thing out once in the time that I've used this build, so whatever you want to use there, and for your pistol, totally up to you. Moving on to the gear, we have our first piece of Brazos as talked about. This is the other big component of this build that has been reworked and buffed with Project Resolve. For the brand bonuses, you get 10% skill aced, 1 skill tier, and then 50 magazine size. That is the buff. I believe it was 20 before the update, 20 or 30, it's now 50. And so with that bonus alone, that is what is taking us from the standard 32 round Lady Death to 48. And you feel that a lot in gameplay. And because you're not having to reload so often with only 30 rounds in the mag, that is why this whole setup works so well. So once again, on the mask, we got those bonuses, and the third one from the Ninja Bike, which we'll also get to. On here, I have armor, crit damage, crit chance with a crit damage mod. Moving on to the chest piece, we have our first piece of Umbra. Again, we're using 3, a Ninja Bike to get the 4-piece bonus. Now again, originally, I would not have thought to combine Umbra with the Lady Death because it increases your RPM, which means you just have to reload more often, and with how small of a mag size the Lady Death has, that can be kind of annoying, at least in my mind. But when you increase its mag size and you also take into consideration that Umbra gives you big reload speed bonuses, it's actually pretty fun. So on here we get the 15% crit chance for the 2-piece, 30% reload for the 3-piece. Those both play right into what make the Lady Death so strong. And then the 4-piece, if you have not used Umbra before, basically you go into cover and you gain stacks that give you crit damage and RPM, and then when you're out of cover, you get to use those and you gain stacks that give you armor regen when you get back into cover. It's a very kind of synergistic gear set in that sense. And so on this piece then we have weapon damage, crit damage, and a crit damage mod, and we're using the chest piece of Umbra to get the From the Shadows amplification talent, which increases the amount of stacks that we get specifically for the damage portion of the whole deal, and that's what matters, right? Because we get more crit damage, more RPM, it just increases our overall damage output. But certainly if you wanted to do, you know, a Brazos chest piece here and get some regular high-end talent and then use an Umbra mask, you could do that as well. Totally up to you. Moving on to the holster, no big surprise, we have the Picaro's holster. If we're going to use Brazos, we got to use Picaro's, right? It gives us the 2 core attributes of armor and weapon damage, and then we also have a crit damage roll on there. And I should mention, for the overall distribution of this build, I am running 3 armor cores and damage everywhere else. As explained in some of my previous Resolve builds and just my gameplay in general, that's kind of a distribution that I like to go for. I think it plays well in how I, you know, approach combat and play the game, but that part is totally up to you. If you want to go full glass cannon, you can. If you want to go 6 blues, you can. You know, customize it as you like, right? Moving on to the backpack, we have the Ninja Bike Exotic Backpack. This is just so we can get all of these bonuses in one build, because we need the 3-piece from Brazos to get the mag size, we need the 4-piece from Umbra to take advantage of that, so Ninja Bike is the way to go. And on here we have, obviously, the cores, and then crit damage as our mod. Moving on to the gloves, next piece of Umbra. On here we have weapon damage and crit damage, and then lastly, for the knee pads, last piece of Umbra, weapon damage and crit damage on there. For the specialization and skills, this part I actually do think is pretty important into the overall build if you are concerned at all about the reload time and the downtime of damage like I was for the Lady Death and Umbra. Gunner can help mitigate that even further than just the reload speed bonus on Umbra, because every 3rd reload that you have with this specialization is, I think, what, 50% faster. So with that, with the Umbra bonus and the fact that you get like extra weapon handling when you stand still with this spec, it just makes the overall playstyle of this a lot more fluid. You don't have as much downtime, and I think that's a big benefit. Of course, on top of that, you get stuff like the extra armor on kill and the rate of fire on kill, so Gunner just works super well in this. You also gain access to the Banshee Pulse, which I think is a very good skill for this overall setup. So that's what I recommend, but of course, try it out as you like. And then lastly, I just have the Revive Hive, like I do on a lot of my builds, for that extra bit of safety. And there you have it, everybody. That is the build and breakdown of this super fun, buffed, and reworked Lady Death setup. I personally really appreciate that for this update, the devs purposely went in and didn't just hit increase, right, on a few numbers to make things more powerful. Rather, like in the case of the Lady Death, they looked at the talent and said, how could we open this to more build possibilities and combinations? And that's exactly what they did by allowing it to scale with mag size. You simply open the door for more creativity. And that's when I think Division is at its best, when it encourages its players to be creative. But anyway, my friends, that's going to do it for this one. I very much hope you enjoyed. Be sure to leave all of your thoughts, questions, or anything else you got about the build down below. And that's going to do it for me today, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Out.
Reinforcements en route. Incoming hostiles detected.